Imagine waking up and having your robot assistant scan your body for diseases, realize that you're sick, and immediately provide an antidote to your illness. Then imagine food that you did not buy, plant or steal, prepared for you by your robot assistant. With your smart device you can summon a vehicle to transport you from your home to your place of work, where you and a team of researchers continue in your efforts to resolve some of mankind's more demanding challenges like cancer, blindness, and loss of limbs. If this sounds strange to you, then I would like to explain how emerging technologies and existing practices can come together to provide the best solutions for mankind's current issues. This city would be used to fully utilize the capacity of the higher power that we currently exist within, and to gift future generations a tool they can use to solve anything they put their minds to. These emerging technologies and existing practices include AI, brain imaging, education with VR, fraternal power, healthy family structures, gene editing, quantum computing, and efficient design. With these tools and practices, mankind can reshape how it operates and exists within the world. First, AI has been around for quite some time, long before the 2022 release of ChatGPT. In fact, it really began back in the 1950s, when it was first used to compete in chess tournaments, chessbase.com. Since then, its computing parameters have exploded, and now, with the help of the latest GPUs, it can be seen doing noteworthy things like trading on the stock market, optimizing business workflows, and directing self-driving cars. Powers, J. Thomas, M. Powers states, AI trading companies use various AI tools to interpret the financial market, use data to calculate price changes, identify reasons behind price fluctuations, carry out sales and trades, and monitor the ever-changing market. This confirms that AI has been used for trading. Next, Thomas states, AI's ability to analyze massive amounts of data and convert its findings into convenient visual formats can also accelerate the decision-making process. Company leaders don't have to spend time parsing through the data themselves, instead, using instant insights to make informed decisions. Transportation is one industry that is certainly teed up to be drastically changed by AI. Self-driving cars and AI travel planners are just a couple of facets of how we get from point A to point B that will be influenced by AI. Even though autonomous vehicles are far from perfect, they will one day ferry us from place to place. This confirms that AI has been optimizing business workflows and directing self-driving cars. The question then is, what else can AI potentially do for mankind? As of right now, it's very limited and controlled. However, what will happen when we move from self-driving cars to at-home personal robot assistants, which, for $20K, can perform household tasks like cleaning and cooking? Robotshop.usa. Once more, what happens after this very real and soon-approaching future arrives? Much the same way we have specialized vehicles for unique tasks, I am certain there will be specialized AI models for specific robotics tasks. Currently, with our smartphones and TVs, we can access highly talented people remotely. We can listen to professionally composed music and watch amazing films. With robotics, soon we'll be able to access specialized labor wirelessly. Imagine not just a chef, but a plumber's AI model being downloaded onto an at-home robot. It would then be able to perform the plumbing needed to fix your pipes. One robot could do the work of many people, and much the same way that organizations are using AI to optimize their workflows, analyze data, transcribe presentations, and organize schedules, these robots will definitely be sought to replace or perform manual labor. Now, some people may hear this and think that this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. However, I disagree. I believe that this revolution is a major ingredient in a solution that will help mankind resolve much more difficult problems, primarily problems like cancer, baldness, and blindness. With human beings freed from mundane operational tasks, we can educate ourselves and prioritize more demanding and challenging endeavors. Even more, this ingredient is not without support. As I continue this writing, I will explain how everything mentioned in my introduction will come together to make the best City of Prosperous Life solution. To continue, another ingredient in this solution for a prosperous life is brain imaging. We have known for the last 20 years that brain imaging has the ability to answer deeper questions about the connection between the brain and behavior. Amen University. A pioneering doctor by the name of Daniel Amen, with the help of his colleagues, has been developing a database with hundreds of thousands of brain scans taken from a SPECT scanner. Amen University. They use the image of an active and inactive brain matched with a set of symptoms shared by the patient to pinpoint the best treatment plan for that individual. They reference a normal or healthy brain, which they have attained through research, to compare with the patient's current brain activity and find their goal. The point is that many people who struggle with their behavior and who tend to make bad decisions can be assisted in living a better life using this technology. Often head trauma and chemical exposure can damage the brain in subtle ways that adversely affect a person's decision-making skills. Even more, individuals who are on the spectrum, have ADD, ADHD, or are victims of drug abuse and emotional trauma can recover or see much improvement in their abilities through the power of brain imaging. Why is this important? Well, people who struggle with their mental health make poor decisions that disqualify them from working at high levels in society. By addressing this issue and conquering it, we can build better civilians who can work in higher-paying roles. These individuals are already vulnerable to the massive job displacement that is on the horizon and will require a specialized skill set to survive the wave of AI and robotics in the near future workforce. By using brain imaging, we can make it possible for the less fortunate to access higher levels of education. This leads to proper education. Now, with the proper utilization of higher education, we can effectively prepare a future workforce. We can achieve this by incorporating brain imaging in the classroom, much the same way we have introduced systems that ensure every student is equipped with glasses, visiontolearn.org. The brain imaging program would be no different. Without glasses, a child will have a difficult time keeping up with his or her peers and the lesson pace due to a factor they are unable to remedy. Similarly, without the right brain imaging solution, students would be sitting in a classroom and miss key points, walking away from the lecture as lost as they were when it began. Brain imaging prevents these students from falling through a different crack, that of mental health instability. Now, brain imaging alone will not teach a student how to focus and manage their time, studies, and notes. That will require a stronger educational system designed around building skills rather than just testing. With VR and AI, we can build virtual classroom environments that immerse students in their lectures and provide realistic working environments for them to access real-world skills. forwork.meta.com. Provided that their minds are ready, they can practice time management and self-organization with declassified real-world problems. They will also use AI to learn more about AI's use cases and machine learning. After being educated, they would then enter into their intended profession. Entering the professional world is not as easy as it sounds. Many people struggle to find jobs. A great way to bridge employees and employers is through professional fraternities. The difference between getting a certificate or diploma that qualifies a person for a job versus joining a fraternity or sorority is character reference and professional development. Getting certified does not guarantee that a person knows how to sell themselves to organizations, or whether or not that interviewee is a fit for the organization's culture. Usually this is coded for intelligent enough to do the job and safe enough to be trusted with varying levels of clearance, and lastly, someone you'd want to work with. Once more, with the proper brain imaging program, most poor decision-making can be addressed, while the proper education prepares a person for the job. However, a fraternal system is an additional path to ensure that the person in question, who is seeking opportunity, is of worthy character. The fraternal system would refine individuals who may not have had the best upbringing, and although their mental health is aligned and their education is sound, they might lack a level of etiquette and refinement that a fraternal system provides. With fraternities, education and etiquette training continue outside of the classroom and become a part of that individual's lifestyle and culture in a way that a well-designed educational program on etiquette could not provide. However, relying entirely on fraternities to do the job of the household would be inappropriate. Rather, there should be a clear attitude toward preparing couples and individuals who are planning to start a family. This could be an extension of the role of fraternities or a community initiative promoted much like going to the gym or houses of worship, like a church. The condition would be simple. Before marriage, interested partners should take a course on compatibility and communication, understanding their partner's needs and their own. Topics covered would also include healthy and unhealthy parenting styles. Quinlan, C. Depending on the nature of the system, a planned parenting program may be implemented to prepare couples for their children, and to ensure that each child will have a place in society when they become adults. If everything has gone well so far, then with brain imaging, individuals are best prepared for higher levels of education. With fraternal support, they should be ready for the workforce. Lastly, with assistance in developing healthy family structures, the individual should be prepared to help the system multiply. However, what if, despite all of this support, for unclear genetic reasons, some individuals are unable to advance through this system, or choose a suitable mate, or confidently decide to reproduce due to genetic insecurities? That is where gene editing comes in. With gene editing, primarily CRISPR, we can alleviate many genetic issues that disqualify people. Genes are very tricky to understand. Therefore, we will need an army of highly educated individuals who are well-trained in biology and who also utilize AI to simplify the complexity of genetic research. With this highly trained workforce, who no longer needs to worry about manual labor since AI and robotics have taken over those roles, it is possible that new research will develop at an alarmingly fast pace. This was evident with the 2019 COVID outbreak. Most vaccines can take up to 4 or more years to be developed. However, with AI, Pfizer was able to develop a vaccine in a fraction of that time, only 12 months, Pfizer.com. In addition, at the time, there was an army of highly educated researchers collaborating to resolve the issue, Pfizer.com. Therefore, it is likely the same would occur under the right circumstances. With the collaborative efforts of highly trained individuals, we can advance our research in biology and gene modification, which would be a primary focus in this new world of ease and tranquility. That said, computing as we know it may not yet be able to handle AI databases on genes. Unless computing gets upgraded, enter the fast-approaching era of quantum computing. With quantum computing, our AI models will have much faster processing speeds, bluequbit.com. With a highly trained workforce, and the intersection of quantum computing and AI, there is no telling what can be done. Bluequbit.com explains, classical computers use bits, which represent either a 0 or 1, while quantum computers rely on qubits that use superposition. This allows qubits to exist as 0, 1, or both at the same time, allowing quantum computers to process multiple possibilities simultaneously. In other words, quantum systems can perform parallel computations, boosting their efficiency for complex quantum computing applications like optimization and cryptography. Why is this important to gene editing? How is cryptography related to genes, flops, the process of sequencing the human genome? Qubits can also become entangled, meaning their states are linked. The result is faster and more accurate computations than classical systems. This explains that quantum computing, under the right circumstances, can be faster than traditional computing. With this technology, I suggest that mankind turns its efforts toward treating incurable diseases and providing solutions to disabling injuries such as the loss of a limb or eye. In addition, we could explore extending the human lifespan and potentially traveling through space. Mars is Elon Musk's current goal, but why stop there? Jupiter's moon Europa also seems a promising place to build this city. Lastly, we could use this technology to create superior designs. With efficient designs, the entire system comes together. First, identify the proper land to develop and the best energy sources to power the system. Then, have an intake area that onboards individuals seeking refuge. Mental health professionals will assess a person's ability to learn, and fraternities will welcome newcomers and recruit them into their organizations, where they will learn etiquette, career-oriented skills, and be introduced to the culture of structured family life. Lastly, this newcomer would have a home, food and clothing, all gathered with the help of intelligent robots, 1 or 2 of which are permanent fixtures in that person's home. With this city, mankind would be handing over the most powerful gift for future generations to utilize. We have technologically developed much faster over the last 200 years than throughout the rest of human history. The primary reason for this is that each discovery or invention aids in the next. One can only imagine what the coordination of AI, virtual reality, and quantum computing will reveal about the human genome and other mysteries of life. The only thing stopping this from coming to pass is raising enough funds to materialize the physical infrastructure and convincing people to participate and dedicate themselves to this endeavor. However, I believe that this must be done to empower our future generations to accomplish and resolve all things they put their minds to, even death itself. To conclude, we are on the cusp of a human revolution, one that is poised to change our lives forever. If the right individuals come together and invest in this solution, then anything mankind puts its mind to, it will be able to resolve. Once more, with the emerging technologies like AI, the existing practice of brain imaging, education with VR, fraternal power, healthy family structures, gene editing, quantum computing, and efficient designing, mankind will witness a transformation of the workforce as never seen before. Many even wonder, what will people do when robots are doing everything? I am suggesting that working together to build this city would be the best use of our time and efforts.